This is Bill and Deb North of the Florida Weekend Warriors. In this week's project, we are installing a Draw-Tite front mount hitch on the front of the brand new 2022 Super Duty. If me and her can do it, you can do it too. It's not that heavy, Deb, is it? Maybe a little bit. This is model number 65076. It says the basic tools we need is a drill bit to drill the holes and the dampener so you can trim out the hole, some 18mm and 3/4 sockets, and some torque wrenches. And that's really about it. The directions aren't that good. The diagram is very hard to read, and it looks like a lot of the parts and stuff that come with it is in case you have a skid bracket. We don't have one, so some of these spacers and says they're not needed, but I've read through these directions. It's kind of hard to figure out. Here's all the pieces. We'll figure it out when we get started. The first thing you measure is the center line. Then you measure up 1 5/8 inches from the bottom of this, and then 1 3/4 inches this way, and 3.5 inches this way. Then we just line it up and cut the hole. Just drill a hole in each corner. On there. Follow the line that you cut. Last night it was raining, so I went ahead and did the cutout. I followed the instructions, but the hole looks bigger than the hole we need, so I might have to trim it up when we're done. So we're gonna jack the truck up a little bit so we can get underneath it, and we'll get started. We're gonna use this floor jack, slide it under the car so that we don't have to hold it up, and then hopefully it'll hold it in place for us as we attach all the hardware to it. Okay, we've surveyed the situation. These two holes here are going to go on these two here. So we take these two off and change out the bolts with bigger bolts. And then this hole here is going to go in this hole. What we're going to do is we're going to put one of these up in there so we could tighten the bolt down so the bolt won't spin and it has something to grab onto. So should be an easy plan. So here's the bolts that came out on the side. The holes in the top are round, so we're gonna have to use those spacer squares up in here too. We'll have to feed them through with that wire. Gonna be a little tricky, but I think we can do it. What you do is you put these slots on here like this. Now these longer ones go on the frame itself on the back, and all these four here go on the sides. And we might have to use these spacers after all. But you just put these screw springs on here. You just screw the screw on it like this. You just screw it on there. And then you feed this whole apparatus into the frame through the hole and pull it through. And then you take this off and put the bolt on the bottom. We get all the wires and all the bolts, so we're ready to feed them through the frame. So these go on the side, this black one goes on the bottom. Same on the other side. We'll start feeding them through the frame. Now I can just pull the screw in through there. Pull it right through. Alright, get the hitch on. I'm going to put these two on each side, so just hold it up in the air loose so we can get the rest of the bolts in. Now the trick is to pull the spring off without the bolt going back in the hole, and then putting the nut and washer on. There we go. Now I can feed the sides in. We had to take these brackets off, skid brackets. Basically this hitch would be doing the same thing as the skid bracket was doing, but we just couldn't get it in there. And we had to use a spacer on one side. We couldn't get a spacer on both sides after pulling the bracket out. So all that's left to do is to tighten up these bolts. There we go, we got it finished. We just got to put something on it to help trim it out to make it look a little better. So I'll see what I can find in the garage. We put this black door trim on the edges of the cut to help make the hole look a little better and to make it a little smaller. Also having the Ford plug in the end helps hide the hole too. If I had to do it all over again, I probably would have cut the hole about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch smaller on all sides to get it in there. We really like being able to have the bike hitch on the front. We had the bikes at one time on one of our campers on the very back of the trailer, and they just bounced like crazy, and it eventually ended up bending everything. But they're super secure up here. The only thing you need is anti-rattle hitch. There's several different types of these. We like this one. It just bolts down over it and it keeps it from vibrating at all. And here's where I got it. It's from Roadmaster. We hope you liked this video and found it informative. Please leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you on our next adventure. See ya!